Okay, so by now you should be able to export your UV map and open in Photoshop. So this is what my submarine UV map look like. Okay, so this is the texture that is given to you on a blackboard. So I'm going to use this as a demonstration. And again, I'm going to copy, right, select everything and copy, and I'm going to paste the texture here. Okay, and again, this is a good time for me to do a UV sim demonstration. So I'm going to hide the wireframe and I'm going to save the texture. Okay, so I'm going to save it as a JPEG and I'm just going to rename it submarine underscore text for texture. Yeah, replace. Yeah, go back to Maya. Okay, we don't need this, you can delete. And I'm going to assign new material. Lambert is good for me. And I'm going to use that file, submarine underscore texture. Okay, now I'm not sure if you can see, but if you have a good eye, you should be able to see like there's this lining, right? There's this kind of like a bad lining, right? That happening around the texture around this area. Okay, and that's when the UV sim actually happening. Okay, so a UV sim is actually a term when the other UV border meets the other side of the border, and it will create like this sim. Okay, and if you look at the submarine, right? Okay, around this area, okay, the UV sim, it goes from the tail all the way to the body, and also there is a bed happening here. Okay, and this just looks unprofessional, and as an artist, right, you need to kind of fix this problem. Okay, and there are many ways to fix this one, but before we jump into on how to fix that, okay, I'm just going to show you one more thing. Again, like this is another example. Okay, so it's not complete because I only do a fixing for this portion. And if you notice that the first submarine, it has a pretty clean texture. Okay, so even though the seam is happening around this middle portion, but the seam is hardly visible, okay, as compared to the second submarine. And this looks very unprofessional and it's quite noob. Okay, so this is something that we try to avoid, okay, when you do a project or when you do assignment or whatever, right? And it just looks bad. Okay. Now, so I mean, before you fix the problem, you should know like the difference between having the seams or the texture fixed and this one is not fixed. Okay, so there's a big difference between the texturing. Now, the way we fix this, right, we can fix it in Photoshop. So if we go back to Photoshop and we turn on the wireframe, right, so this is when the actually seam is happening. So when this guy, right, made that guy, okay, so it will take a bit of this, okay, a bit of this texture, and it will meet up with that texture portion over there, and it will create the line. And we have to kind of like blur it so that way the seam is not visible. Okay, so the seam will always be there. I mean, if you zoom really close, you can actually see like there is a bit of discoloration around this area. But if you move it out, it's not so visible. I mean, this one is not fixed, but around this region it's kind of like fixed already. Okay, seems always be there, but as an artist we try to minimize the visibility of the seam. Okay, so if there's any player that play your games, they doesn't notice like this bad texturing happening in your model. Okay, so you want everything nice and smooth. Now, going back to Photoshop, right, we can fix the seam by going to the texture layer. So make sure you select in the correct layer. So this is the wireframe, and this is the texture, and this is the back color. Okay, so at this stage you can hide or delete the back layer. Now I'm going to press S. Okay, S is the shortcut for the clone stamp tool. So what it does is it will clone, okay, one side to the other side. So when this wrap around, it will create a nice texture. Okay, so maybe I should do demonstration purposes. So let's say I'm going to clone this dark spot on this side. Okay, so the way this will work is that you press S or click on the tool, then you press Alt to pick the source or pick the region that you want to clone. Okay, and then you move your mouse to the location that the spot is supposed to be cloned to. Okay, so in this case it's going to be on my right hand side, and again as you click it will clone the patch just like the source. Okay, again it's a little bit soft because I put the opacity to 10, but if I bump it up to 100, okay, and I do it again, if I want to undo. Okay, it doesn't seem to register my undo, so maybe I'll just going to open my history. I'm going to all the way up and starting again. Okay, so I'm going to press Alt and move my mouse somewhere else. Maybe I'll do it somewhere here, and I can click right and just move up. Okay, so this region will now have the same exact spot what you have there. Okay, so it's been cloned. That's why the name is clone stamp or clone tool. Okay, now the idea is that we try to make sure that the left portion and the right portion has the same texture, especially around the seam area or the border, because that's when the seam actually will be visible. Okay, so I'm going to clone. Right now, one more option that you have to be concerned is that here there is a sample called all layer. So what it means, like, it will clone every layer that is visible. Okay, we don't want the wireframe to be cloned, because right now, like, if I hide the wireframe, it's also being cloned and it will cause problem. Okay, then later your submarine will have the wireframe on it. Okay, so what I do is that I'm gonna undo and I want to change the sample to current layer only. Okay, so you're only affecting the layer that's being selected. Okay, so again I'm trying my best. So maybe I'm gonna use this guy, right? And I'm gonna clone it like that. So maybe in this direction, right? So in this stage, I want you guys to fix the seam using Photoshop and using the manual way, right? Because fixing the seams can be quite tedious work because you have to go back and front. So let's say I finish, okay, because you have to do it like from here all the way to the bottom. Okay, for the demonstration purposes, I'm just going to stop around this region. I want to hide the wire frame and I want to save this texture again. Okay, go to texture, submarine, upper right. Okay, and go to Maya, and I'm going to reload. Okay, so if you notice, right? So this is the area that we fix. So it's somewhere around this front region. Okay, so if I minimize this, and if you look at the texture closely, now the seam is hardly visible. Okay, so again, I'm going to duplicate. I'm just going to do a comparison between the clone. So this is before we do the cloning. So maybe I'm going to save this as Submarine before, right? And assign new material. Okay, now the left one is before and the right one is after. Now you can see how powerful is the fixing UV seam is. Okay, so I expect from this point onward that when you submit the assignment, whether it's my module or other module, I expect that you submit a good quality of texture. Okay, because you don't want something like this to be happening when you're submitting a project. Okay, so from now on, now that you know how to fix the UV seam, try to fix or try to hide or try to clone the UV seam as much as possible, so it's hardly noticeable when it comes to the texture quality. And again, there's a lot of like work when it comes to fixing the UV seam, right? So I'm only fixing like this region, right? This region, and you can, as you can see, like there's still plenty other stuff that you have to fix. Okay, so around this area, and also around this area, okay, and also around this area. Okay, so there's a lot of spots that need a lot of fixing to be done. Okay, and also this one very visible, and around this one. Okay, so this is just one way of fixing UV seam in Photoshop. Okay, so go ahead and go back to Photoshop and just continue fixing the seam again. Okay, so using the clone tool, press Alt, I think it was the left, right, and just like going all the way from the top to the bottom.